Hi guys, John here, Mr. Forexfire. So, in the Discord last week, I spoke about going over the process that I've been through personally, not holding back on anything, just letting it all out and talking about how I started, what's happened on that journey, why am I doing what I'm doing, how it's going, and what my goals and everything else are as I move forward. Okay, so from the very beginning, I mean, I've been trading now for going into around about my 6th year. So I'm coming up into or at least in my 6th year. And when I very first started, and again, some of this will resonate with some of you will probably not know some of the stuff, but I think there's going to be a fair amount of you will already know certain parts of platforms and things like that I'm going to mention. And like I say, I'm not going to hold back on anything. So I was approached by a good friend of mine that I knew online. Again, I'll not name names and things like that, but this guy, he moved over to Australia from Ireland, is a really good friend, and I still keep in touch with him to this day. He introduced me to a platform at the time that was called IML. And again, some people are not like that sort of stuff. Some people may like it. I don't know. But I'm going to talk about my personal experience and what I've done. So I was part of this IML. And in the first year, I was in there. I was part of a group with that. And the group, which I found out were very, very, very focused into promoting and ranking up and things like that. At the time when you first come into anything, that's far from what you want to do. You want to learn. And at the time, I had some little bits of good stuff within the group, and I had some stuff which I wasn't necessarily going with the flow of that, so to speak. With the IML at the time, they had very little on the platform back then. They had things you could follow. There was obviously what they call educators, and I sort of, that was a little bit too much for me first, because I thought all of that, and I stuck with what the group were doing at the time. And that's what I did in my first year. And in that first year, I didn't really sort of progress, didn't really sort of learn much, because all that was being promoted within that group was all you need is 10 pips a day. And then they were showing compounding sheets, and they were looking at 3% compound onto 3%, onto 3%, onto 3%, onto 3%, and you could get this by the end of the year. But when you're green behind the ears and you don't know, you're going with the herd. Okay, you're going with the flock, you're going with the sheep, and you're just following suit what they are doing. And it gets into their mindset and their concepts of what they're doing to obviously trade. And in my first year, I really found out what they sort of balled up into this sort of structure, what they had was just purely there as a flashy, shiny bollocks to get more new people in to come in underneath them on the system. And I sort of fell back off it. I got a little bit discouraged by it, and I came away from it. And then that was so far into the first year, and around about seven months later, I was contacted again by my good friend. Like I said, he's fantastic, and I still talk to him to this day. And he got back in contact with me, and he said, "Look, the stuff that I was doing and whatever I was doing on trading, he could see that I had it in me." And like I said, I've got a lot of respect for this guy. And I thought, yeah, well, if he's reaching out, he's telling me he would get me back into it. He got me back into it with the same group. However, I came back into it with a different mindset. And the mindset that I had after seeing what happened the first time around, I just didn't want to go with the herd. I didn't want to go with the flock. I didn't want to go with the sheep. I didn't want to be sort of shepherded into the pen on this is what they are doing and this is what you need to do. So I sort of went into the group, but then I started looking at the platform itself. And I watched a lot of different people and a lot of different things. And there was a lot of rubbish on there, but there was some good. And I found a guy, and he was called Oren, right? And like I say, I am friends with this guy still, even though I'm not part of that group no more. I do chat with him. A lot of people call him the coach, and I do speak to him from time to time. And learned a lot. And when I say a lot, I learned a hell of a lot from this guy, because he wasn't focused. He wasn't focused on getting you to pay for this, that, and the other. He wanted people to learn structure. You know, that is one of the fundamentals, one of the basic things you have to learn in anything with trading. Once you have an eye for structure and how price moves and price action moves in the flow of things, then that is your best indicator overall. It's your eyes with the price action. I learned a lot from that guy, and from there, I used a lot of his products on the system, which was called Levels. And he had one or two things with strategies and things like that. And I followed everything he did to the T. And with doing that, just bear with me because I've got somebody at the door. I'm just going to pause the video. I'll be back in a second. Sorry about that. So with that in mind, I followed a lot what this guy done and did and learned. And he had a few strategies and a few methods that you could use. And one of them was things to do with head and shoulders and things like that. I do apologize about my voice if it keeps coming and going. I was a little bit bad last week. So I sort of took notes. I was on his sessions. His sessions were late on a night, with him being in the US. So I was up quite late, going into the early hours of the morning, then going to a job the very next day. And I learned a lot from this guy. Now, still being part of this group that was structured as part of this IML, I started putting the knowledge and the trade and stuff that I learned from this guy and started going into the group more and started helping a lot of people within that group, to the point where there was things being used with harmonic scanners and things like that. And I came with a concept of something that Oren was using, and I adapted it to being able to use it with this harmonic scan thing. And it was a very, very, very successful way of trading, very successful way of trading, to the point where the guys, when they started doing these things called live sessions amongst the group and helping each other, they were using this method for the best part of a year and a bit. And it was a very good, it was all to do with breakouts from the harmonics and things like that. And from there, I sort of started getting the attention of the group. I was getting a lot of people come and ask me questions, which I don't mind. Like I said, I do it to this day. And things started progressing from there. With regards to live trading, live accounts, that didn't come into anything that I was doing with my trading at all for at least a couple of years, because I had it instilled into me from learning through Oren that you want to get consistency, you want to get your confidence, your consistency. And this is why I always go on about in the group here, you want to build upon your confidence, which, like I said, this all comes from the structure standpoint, learning structure points, learning to draw things up. And when your confidence comes and you can see these point of interest or POIs being touched, you will then get the consistency. And then when you're going down that line, you then look at the profits. You need to build your confidence and consistency. And that's what this guy done for me, to the point where I was actually doing things within the group. And it ended up taking people away from the silly stuff that was being spoke about in there to actually look at structured things. Because again, when you were looking at trading, I was always taught from the very beginning, if your account is only so many $100, you want to use a 0.01. There was no risk to reward spoke about back then. There was no sort of what I do now, a roll back on investment, like a return on investment, where I roll back and I stage my entries into my stop loss areas, which I do a lot of that on the Forex fire trades. That in itself goes in conjunction with a risk to reward, and it gives you a much better return, you know. So there was a lot of stuff I started changing, and little did I know back then, these were becoming my building blocks and foundation for my future trading plan. So we went through that group for about a year and a bit, in producing the content with what I learned from this guy. And from there, I did start promoting, because then I started seeing the benefit of what they were doing. So I started promoting the platform a bit, and I made loads of new friends, loads of trading buddies, and I'm still friends with most of these guys to this day. However, once I started getting my light bulb moment, because again, I say this and I'll always tell everybody till I'm blue in the face, the more you practice, the more you draw on the charts, and the more you build your confidence in doing this, and then the consistency comes, you'll all of a sudden, you'll just get it's like a flick of the switch. It just goes, you can go to your chart and it's like a fog lifting, and it's like the mist completely clears, and you go on the chart and it's like, I can see price action. And once I got to that level, because I got the confidence, then I got the consistency, and I seen the profitability coming in, because the demo accounts that I was using then, they were building up. Once I got to that level, I was trying to do these live accounts. And again, not going to lie, at that time, I didn't have my risk management in play. So I was still basing everything that I was trading based upon these lot sizes, what I was told to trade with, in comparison or compared to the account size. And that's when I sort of took a peg back or two, because I was getting discouraged by it. Nothing was working for me, but the trades were there. It was just the lot sizes I was using at the time, just when they were hitting me out, it was hurting the account more than what I was getting on the ones that were winning, simply because it was a badly laid out plan from what we were being told within the group, you know, trading whatever lots to whatever account size, instead of going percentage, which obviously I found out further down the line. But from there, because I got the confidence, consistency, and I was putting into this group, I was wanting to sort of come away from the tools and everything that this group was doing, because they are paid areas of the IML stuff. Certain members of that group that didn't like the idea of me doing that, because it took people away, or took certain attention away from what they were getting paid. And I always thought the ethos of this platform was to build people's progressions to where they no longer require the tools, but not the case. They just wanted to bring in new people. This is a structure. Get more attention, bring in new people. This is a structure, and just have a conveyor belt, like a meat factory, just producing more and more and more members, you know. So I sort of fell out of love again, second time around with that. And from there, I was sort of taken out of the group, because obviously I felt my personal trading had progressed, and I didn't want to get stuck in, I wouldn't say in a horrible place, but I didn't want to get stuck in and amongst what I was getting stuck into the first time around, if that made sense, because I knew eventually this didn't even come into my thoughts until like about a year or so ago. But the goal then was I wanted to get that profitability, and then I wanted to get trading to the point where I could sort of do it from home. And when I came away from that group, I went to another group, which was very much consisted of people that was part of an IM group, but they sort of went off on their own. And again, I'm not going to mention any names on these ones, because, you know, it's like people complain and they say stuff, but there's a few people in the Discord that I have now know about it. And it was all built upon a smart money concept. We have trading, which is what I liked, because price action, and I had the confidence in drawing things up, and I had the consistency was there, and I thought I'd found my new home. Again, did that for the best part of a year. These guys had a Discord channel, and everything was going really well with these. And again, they did have a membership side of things on that, as most places do. But before I joined them, I'd set up this. I'd set up the forexfire Discord. And I set out with an aim of being able to teach people to learn structure points. And again, I'm not perfect, but I do have an eye for certain things within trading with its structure and price action. So if I could help people in and around what I was doing, and not get stuck into these platforms where they were just sort of brought in and at most times left to their own devices, you know, to fend for themselves, because that's what most of these groups do, to be fair. They suck you in, they get you in, and they've got your money, and you just get told to get on with it. Or you've got to trade that one-way system, which is what they use, which, let's face it, some of it can be terrible, especially if it doesn't suit the time allowance you've got at the charts. So that's why I set this up. Completely free area for like-minded people. And with these guys, the smart money, it was fantastic. It was fantastic, and I was doing really well. And it got to the point, because I'd already started documenting everything. I always set out from day one to document stuff that I would do. So when I look back on a year-to-year basis, I can look back and see where I was, what I've done, where I've been, and where I'm at now. So then it wouldn't discourage me. It would sort of spur me on, because I knew what I'd learned along that path, and it would give me the drive. It would keep that drive within me to continue. And because I'd been documenting all that, I'd also along the way met lots of trading friends, lots of trading buddies. And because when I got to that stage with this other group, I thought these have good intentions. They know what they want to do. So I started bringing the people in on that. Little did I know the following, or the following that I'd produced along the time was well in the hundreds of people, and there was at least 300 or so people that I'd been trading with beforehand had come into this. So I brought a good vast amount of business into this other area for these guys. And trading was going well. It was a good setup. But a year down the line, these guys decided that they were going to put things on a high-end ticket price. They were getting rid of the Discord, and it wasn't a nasty thing, in fairness. It just, in my opinion, it took away everything that I was believing in, which was in regards to actually teaching people. This was just, it ended up being a one big herd everybody in again, and then we'll just slap a big price tag on it, and we'll get all the money out of them. And the guys, they know how to trade. Them guys know how to trade, to be fair. It's just, I think there was a lot of people let down with it. So this spurred me on. I was going in, by this time, I was heading into my year and a half with this, what I'd set up. So I put my full concentration into this. And that setup that I left, the guys that I was working alongside with that, it was going to get to a stage where I was going to be just doing something in a position with them. but it didn't play out. And obviously I left. There was quite a bit of money from what I was supposed to be owed from it. And we just walked away from each other, to be fair. So I put all my concentration in this. And when I started doing that, this is when this stuff started coming into it, the funded challenges, because these years ago were very few and far between. You can get these prop firms now, $2 to a penny. But I found working with my Forex funds was fantastic. I actually spoke with the guys at my Forex funds, and I mentioned to them about obviously this area that I've got here and how many people we've got in there. They kindly set up a discount code for me because of that following. So again, that's why we have in the challenge links, we have an area there when you want to get into my Forex funds. You get a good 5% off your price. You can start at levels which are around about 5K account. It's only about 30 to 40 odd dollars, you know, minimal pricing. But again, I started going through the process of wanting to get through one of these, obviously because I built my confidence, my consistency. It was time now to do what I wanted for myself and the people that had been following me along the journey. So I wanted to massively get this group going. And this only ever started out with only four or five people, to be fair. Now it stands at around about 470 odd members in the group, and it's still growing. With that being said, I mean, obviously, I got through the challenge. But not only did I get through the challenge on this, I was documenting every step of the way. So what I did with this, and there's a video in the group, I went the full length of what you can use within the My Forex funds with regards to not so much retries. The retry was there if I needed it, but the time extensions and things like that. So that we have a great video on that inside the group. Because again, doing things too fast will never last. And if you try and rush the process and anything, you're just going to get your fingers burnt. I mean, that with regards to live accounts and everything else, I've tried the process of growing a $100 account to 500 to maybe 1,000, and I've done it once or twice. However, when you're trading such a small account like $100 and things like that, you only see pennies. You see pennies at first. And if you're not in this game for the long term, and what you'll see is when you start getting the profits coming on your account, you're hitting 4 or 5 trades off the belt. There's a little thing in your back of your mind saying to yourself, well, if I over leverage on this trade, I'll double the account. And this is where the impatience come into, because trading is not easy. Trading's not easy. Simply because you will get impatient, you get the emotions come in, you get the doubt will come in, and then you start falling off the wayside and you think, I've had enough of this. Whereas if you structure everything down, back in the day when I first started, I was looking for trades here, there. I was looking on these softwares with the IML stuff, and there was an alert, there's a trade, and I thought, it's a trade, we'll get in on it. Little did I know that further down the line, once I get to this sort of stuff, and to be successful in this sort of stuff, I ended up on my trading plan, I'll only ever look for one trade a day, one setup a day, maybe 2 at most, and that has worked for me massively, rather than look at 3, 4, 5 trades a day, attending 3 or 4 sessions that are on these go live sessions with these people, you know. So overall, your consistency comes from sticking with your plan and using the proper risk to reward management. And to be fair, there's nothing more better with gaining experience than using your own money, in fairness. But again, if you're starting out in trading, I certainly wouldn't advise and going down that route and sticking $100 in an account and trying to trade it. You really need to sort of do a demo account at first for at least 6 months or so to try and build some consistency. And when it comes to strategies and methods and everything else, I always say all methods will work. What will get you through to getting the level of consistency is sticking to your plan, sticking to your rules of what you're using with that method, because the minute you deviate from the structure of that plan, it's when you're going to get varied results. So if you break a rule over here, it's going to affect the result over here. You need to have a strict set amount of rules and reasons why you're in the trade and why you're not in the trade. So when you get the data, you get the results over here, and then you can find out which part didn't work for you on your rules section, and you can fine tune that. The minute you break any of these rules in any trade, and then you get a winning result, it affects the data that you're going to have to be able to progress and move forward. So what I'm saying is all strategies will work. What you need with regards to what you're doing in your trading is you need to have a strategy that allows you to trade fairly in the time allowance you've got that you're given to the charts. I'll only ever look at the charts for about an hour to 2 hours maximum and have alerts set. And I'll stick to the rules that I've got. And if none of them rules here, if any of them rules are broken or don't apply to what I have set up over here, I won't trade it. I won't look at the setup. I won't get into it or anything like that. And this is why I ended up passing all this sort of stuff. So with that being said, when we ended up doing the Discord and things like that, it slowly grew, the Discord of the Fire Discord, and we started to get a lot of things coming in where people were, because it was an open Discord, to be fair, and we were getting a lot of spam bots and things like that in there. And I take pride in everything that I do, and everything where people are supporting us, like the moderators and things like that. I take massive pride in what everybody's sharing in the group, and I wanted to keep it a safe place. I wanted to keep it away from people that were promoting silly crypto investment things. Wanted to keep it away from these people that were IM Academy, as they know now, to try and get you to be pushed into their way of trading. And again, there's nothing wrong with that group setup and platform in itself, but only if you use the professional side of it, which is what they call the live traders, the live sessions. There's a lot of groups that are out there that profess that they've got the system that's going to get you through all this stuff and things like that. I mean, I've seen the old group that I was trading with, and they're using like one-to-one systems, but their stop losses are something like at times 3 and 4 pips, you know. And if you're risking 1%, you can just be in a trade, out of trade like that, in a trade, out of trade like that. 3 pips. The spreads on some of these moves are ridiculous, you know, especially on the GBP, on the majors and things like that. And they're on their sessions, and they're saying like to risk 1%, to get 1%. Yeah, it's all very well and good. When you've got a stop loss so tight like that, it just doesn't work. So again, this is why I wanted to have a safe haven place with the Fire Discord. It's grown massively, and the invites that we have in there is all monitored now. So like I say, anybody who asks or requests for an invite to come into here, I generally screen the people before they come in. I'll ask them a few questions, basic stuff. How long have they been trading? What do they like to trade? What do they want to get out of coming into the group and things like that? And you can generally see straight away what these bots, if they are bots, because they don't reply to the messages, so they just get banned from the group straight away. And like I say, we take massive pride in the Discord channel. We are over 2 years of having this built now, over 2 years of having this area built, and it's Structure changes within it from time to time, but it is primarily an area where you can come in, build your confidence and build your consistency. You don't need to look at this stuff straight away. Get to know the people that are in and around the area. We're going to be putting some stuff in the Discord soon where I'm going to help the beginner side of stuff a lot more. So people are coming in and they're not got the confidence to build the charts or mark the charts up. I want to start bringing in something where I'm going to do maybe some daily videos where, and I'll put it in the beginners area where it's going to let the beginners come and watch those videos, whether they're about 20 minutes or half an hour long, and see what I'm doing, marking up the charts, looking at the areas, the point of interest, so they can go back on the charts themselves and start drawing them up. It's something that we did when we first opened this up, a homework section sort of thing. So it's not going to be so much a homework section area. I'll possibly do a video in the beginners area for 20 minutes, half an hour each day, so they can tag along and have a look to see how I look at marking these charts up. And again, it'll not be for to get in on entries. It's just to identify structure. And that'll be your first foundation block. You're going to be getting your confidence. Okay, see what I do over the shoulder. You're going to go on the charts. You're going to mark these up yourself. And again, if you need to reach out to me, you can reach out at any time. And then I can look at something if you need me to look at something, because I will genuinely get back to everybody and as best time as I can. Like I say, you've got to understand there's about 400 odd people in the Discord, so I get asked a hell of a lot of questions each day, which I don't mind, because we all started from the same area. You start from the beginning and you're a new person. You just want to have the right path and the right structure in front of you to follow suit without having the stress of, one, paying a membership of the high end of a couple of $100 a month, and getting into live trading only for to be busting accounts left, right, and center to try and pay for those memberships. This is structured, so you can come in. This is what we've got. Follow along with what we're doing with regard to learning the structure. Get your confidence. You get that confidence drawn down. You're then going to start seeing some consistency, because you're going to see the price action reacting from the areas you draw from. And when you start doing that, we can start talking about how you can sort of trade a demo account, set out a plan on structure-wise on looking for maybe 2-3 trades at most on a day. Stick to those, stick to that 2 to 3 trades on a day, but also only be at the charts when you've got the time allowance to do so, because you want to be able to be consistent, and the consistency will come where you've got no distraction and you're going to be able to trade from the charts itself. For me, I traded from my phone a lot of the time, and again from like a tablet. I found I was making loads of mistakes doing that. I was forcing entries, forcing trades, and I was getting stopped out on a lot of stuff. Now I generally, on a morning, I'll sort of get up, have a bit of breakfast, cup of tea, kids and the wife will go out, because I do this from home now. Eventually I'm getting to the goal I'm at the moment. So I'll do some setups, I'll look at market price, and I'll set alerts. And if them alerts get triggered, I'll go back on the charts and I'll look at how price action has reacted prior to getting to those areas of interest. And if there's been some fluid movement, like I say, I'll have my area for an alert, but I'll also have tagged areas where I'll expect price to go to and react from before it gets to that alert. And if I get a nice fluid of movement on price, then I may start looking at getting in on an entry. So, like I say, it's sort of the method that I use. And that's what I do moving forward. And the aim for what I want to do moving forward with what I'm doing now is, obviously we're starting to get a lot of people doing their challenges. And there's a few people passing this year. Moving forward, I want to be putting something into the group, the goals for next year. My goals for next year is, there's a method that I used, and like I say, I paid and bought into, and again, tried, tested, and found it works really well. That's how I got this. And I want to put this into the group as obviously December comes in. I want to try and put the content together and give people a chance to use it. And there's going to be more coming on that and what I'm going to be doing moving forward with it soon. But that's where I'm at the moment. We just want to get people in here. And like I said, we work upon, where's it at? This here, these here. Them here. Learn together, we trade together, we win together. I've got that, and I spoke about that many times in the old group I was with. I put that together years ago. We learn together, we trade together, and we win together. That's what I want to aim for this group. Also, underlying and underneath that, we've got on the learn together, I want the confidence to come on that. Okay, trade together, it's where the consistency comes in. And then when we win together, that's when the profits come in. So it's confidence, consistency, and profit. They all come underneath learn together, confidence, trade together, the consistency comes, win together is the profits. And then once we start getting those aligning, this is when you can go for this sort of stuff. But that's about me, where I've been, how I started. Again, when you're first starting out, don't let things discourage you. Don't let things discourage you. We have got more than enough inside the Discord, and there's going to be even more stuff coming, especially with the new guys and the new stuff. What I'll do is, like I say, I might start a thing on a morning. When I get up on a morning, I'll start doing a video where I mark a chart up. And again, got to stress, this is not to get you guys an entry. It's not to get you guys into a trade. Just possibly start in the morning. At the start of a week, we will look at maybe marking a chart up, and each morning of the day we'll do what I call a price watch. So we'll mark up, and then that'll be the morning, and then the next year we'll look at how prices reacted. We'll do some more chart drawings on the pairs that we'll watch, and we'll do that day by day. This is going to instill the confidence for you guys to go and do it yourselves, okay? And then from there, once you've got that confidence, you'll be going to the members chat area, and then hopefully that confidence that you've just getting, you'll be able to start putting your chart markups in the group. Because again, this is where we learn together, we trade together. There is never a silly question to be asked in the group. Everybody starts from the same area. Everybody starts from the beginning. Just everybody's at different stages of their journey. Nobody's here to judge one another. It is a genuine place where you are safe to trade together. It's a genuine place where you are not going to be approached for any sort of crypto investments or silly Ponzi scheme things. And again, I do stress, if anybody is approached from anybody with these sort of things, just reach out to myself or one of the mods that can time people out, and then obviously we can investigate stuff, and then if needs be, we can kick people out of the group. This is not here to promote silly stuff outside of the group. It's here for genuine people to come and trade together. And if you have anybody that is interested in getting started with stuff, and with us going into 2023, there is a lot of stuff I want to be bringing in from a new person aspect to help people identify with structure, because I'm a massive believer that's where it all starts. You learn the basics and the structure of price and the movements. This is when you're going to start learning and progressing to the next step of consistency. But for now, it's just to get your confidence level there, okay? So, yeah, overall, that's been me in a nutshell, starting out with these platforms and sort of got discouraged. And like I said, I don't want anybody to get discouraged inside of this group. I do believe we have, like I said, being biased and that, I do believe we have an absolutely phenomenal community here. And like I said, from day one, from 6 years ago, I set out with the aim of starting this as a hobby and just having little bits. I don't want to be a millionaire. I don't want vast loads of money. I just want enough to trade and make enough money to be happy. You see these Lambo boys and everything like that, the flash of the cash and whatever, Rolexes, they're making sure they get the badge of the car on the steering wheel, and they're doing this and that and the other. Bollocks with that. I just want to go on and be able to trade on a morning or the crossover of the afternoon, make enough money to pay the bills that I've got, and then to enjoy the rest of the day. It gets to a Friday, I'll trade a Monday to a Thursday. Gets to a Friday, I like to switch off. Yeah, I'm in the Discord and I still chime away and I still chat and things like that. But my time on the charts is only Monday to Thursday. I stay away from the charts on a Friday. I don't even look at them on a Saturday or Sunday, to be fair. And that's just the way I am. So all in all, that's just the chat that I've had. There could be maybe one or two other things I can go into. If any of you guys want to have a chat, okay, if you want to have a chat or a one-to-one talk about anything, just let me know. Like I said, let me know. I'll make time available for anybody who wants to chat. Again, I don't have the answers for everything. I've always shared what I've learned, and that's what I do moving forward. If there's something that I can give to others on my experience and what I've done within trading, I'm more than happy to share that. More than happy. I'm not hiding behind sort of things where you need to pay these stupid membership high-end ticket stuff and things like that. Yes, I've got the fire trades inside of the group, the fire trades, but again, that's there because it does help and it does support the Discord we have here, simply because I've got running costs with regards to uploads of videos and things like that. But again, I thank everybody that is part of that fire trade area, because without that little bit that comes through on that, this Discord channel wouldn't be able to exist, to be fair. So I do thank everybody that is part of that. And again, if you do want to reach out, just send me a message from there. If you're not already, let's just take a look. Need to have a look at something. If you're not already friends with me on Facebook, okay, I'll just share the screen a minute. You can have a look for my name, John Docherty, okay? If you have a look for my name and just send me a friend request or send me a message, and then from there, I think what I'll do is I'll drop the link on this video inside of the YouTube video I've got. So my Facebook page will be inside of this video, guys, okay? Like I said, I drop a lot of stuff inside of here as well on my wall from time to time, just stop the share again. So yeah, I mean, I've rambled on quite a bit there. If you want to, like I said, if you want to go a bit more in depth with your trading, if you want to go a bit more in depth with your trading, you want to have a more of a personal talk, that's what I'm here for, okay? Got to stress, I'm not perfect, but I can share the process and the journey and the experience I've been on. And I do mean this from the bottom of my heart as well. I want to see everybody inside of the Discord that we've created to have some sort of success, whether it's just starting out and seeing these key areas and these price action moves to eventually come up to this sort of stuff. That's what I want to do. And again, I want to do it where people are not paying these silly high-end costs, because we do literally have something special within this group and what we're building here together. Okay, so I've waffled on enough. Again, reach out to me if you want to have a chat, and I'll speak to you all soon. I'll see you inside the Discord. Bye.